Henshin Inspection presents Writer Tears. I will be discussing the good, the bad, the good, and the intriguing of Geats episode 9. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. I'm going to be talking about also who wins, but that'll be a topical discussion kind of sparked by this episode that I will get into much later after I give you all the good stuff, that analysis that you're here for. So here we go. I'm going to start with the bad stuff. Oh, actually, I'm going to start with the credits for this episode. Kamen Rider Geats episode 9, Encounter 8, Wake Up Monster, originally aired October 30th, 2022. The writer is Yuya Takahashi, and the director is Shojiro Nakazawa. Starting off with the bad stuff. The shifting nature of the Jamato game doesn't make sense to me, and I don't like that. I want to know Ace's wish. Why not let us know? It's really irritating, sorry. If you can tell me what Kamen Rider show that comes from, I'll give you an attaboy. How about that? I'll make you a nice little comical meme related to that show with a shout out from the writer who is the eponymous writer of that show. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I want to know why the show's not letting us know what Ace's wish is, and holding things in the info security world. There's something called security through obscurity. Security through obscurity is just like hiding your text word or your password in plain text. I'm sorry. Hiding your password by not having it show up in plain text in whatever tables you store it in on the back end of your security system. But there are other things you can do, like salting and hashing and other techniques that I don't really understand that are cryptographical. And you can use these things to truly, well, you're not just hiding it in plain sight, basically, waiting for somebody to do the equivalent of just opening a drawer and seeing it written down there. You're doing something better, which is you're making it so that even if they opened up that drawer, when they looked at it, it would mean nothing to them because they don't have the right cipher to decode it. And this whole just withholding information for things to be mystery feels to me like mystery for mystery's sake. I want to come up with a cleaner way to put it, like security through obscurity, because that sounds beautiful. I mean, this just rolls right off the tongue. But I can't think of it. Mystery through history? No. Yeah, I got nothing. History through mystery? That doesn't make sense. So I will move on. But I do not like it, and it's irritating, and I don't understand why Takahashi's doing that. He did not do that in 01 or X8, even though those shows, both, which he was head writer of both of them, had mysterious things and stuff that you were not told, things that we were held off from knowing as an audience, but they didn't rankle me in the same way because I think it was handled much better in those two shows. So, moving on with the bad stuff. Monster is just too goofy. It looks more like a teddy bear than a monster to me. And unless everyone's a big fan of Monsimon and he's like a cultural touchstone, I don't see how this works, but whatever. I'm not buying the toy, so it's okay with me. And then to me, it's silly that Ace only now learned to never give up, never surrender after 2,000 years of playing this game. I mean, he might have played over 4,000 rounds of the Desire Grand Prix, and it makes no sense to me that he would just barely be now learning that you would just have to stick with it and no matter what, not give up, and that unlocked the secret of Monster. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Also, has he never encountered this in all those 4,000 permutations of the game? That doesn't quite make sense to me. Anyway, moving on to the good, because I do like the show overall, even though I have had not very nice things to say about it. But then again, if I start off with the good, or with the bad, it gets it all out of the way for the good stuff. The final boss making an orphan of that sweet little baby at the start of the episode was sure dramatic. I like how effectively that set the stakes for the episode. Seeing the family happy together at the end was good, and honestly, the way they edited that together and put it all together with the baby on the floor out of the, knocked over perambulator or stole or whatever, that was really impactful. I mean, that baby was crying. I mean, he could have cried as much for a diaper change, but yeah, that was very effective. And I was like shocked, and I thought, how dare they put that in the show? And actually rewound it as I was watching it the first time, and I saw, the final boss just crushed that kid's parents and knocked the baby over. And that baby's going to either, die or be born, worse, going to either, die or grow up an orphan. But then later on they show one of the Jamato, lower level Jamatos, going over and killing the baby. And that was horribly gut-wrenching. Terrible. Anyway, nasty business, as I like to say. But it was good because it's effective because it shows the threat of the Jamato and just how, I don't know, uncaring and evil they are. So, next thing is, I like the warm send-off Ace gives to Michinaga and Neon. It was short and sweet, but it definitely felt like something impactful happened between him and those other two characters. So, that's a good thing in my book. Next is Ace tempting the other two, Michinaga and Neon, to quit and just let him win was interesting. It made for some good character moments for all three of them. And maybe that was like the setup for the spiking of the ball here at the end, where he learns that he has to not give up and that he'll win then. Even though it's contrasted with Neon saying, like, I guess I thought I wanted this more than anybody else, but wanting it more than other people doesn't matter. It's like, well, yeah, if you don't have the right tools or the right talent, we got the tools, we got the talent. Sorry. Yeah, I love him. He's so good. Anyway, that's from Ghostbusters, by the way. So, anyway, we got the tools, that's a cool phrase. If you don't have the tools or the talent, even if you have the great desire, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to do things, because this is the real world, or at least that's how it works in the real world. In the fictional world, of course, that gets twisted all the time. And you get the tools or the talent as you need to via the plot, depending on what story it is, what kind of story is being told. So anyway, I thought that was cool. I thought it was really cool that Neon said that. But then again, Ace tells her that she does have a good chance of winning in the future. So I don't know, interesting. And I wonder, do they get to change their wish every single time they get to come back into the game, or do they have a new chance at the start of every Desire Grand Prix to set up a new wish or desire? I wonder. We'll see soon. Well, it's a big squirrel. Let's see. I think the monster form is almost cool, or monster armor, or whatever, is almost cool. I'd like to see it on the legs as opposed to on the bottom half as opposed to on the top half, because I think it could look more interesting there and maybe be, I don't know, better suited to that. But yeah, it's a weird form. I did notice it's not just on one arm though. It's like arm, torso, or it's like both arms and torso. And it's just the bottom half of the jaw on the head. But I was thinking they should do more armors like that, and I think maybe they will do more armors like that, where it's the whole top half or the whole bottom half, as opposed to just like one side of it or the other, which, yeah, I guess there's a variety. If you just have like the water thing, though, you're going to get like a water kick, the water gun, you're going to get like a water kick or a water, spraying out of your arm thing, so... I guess it just depends on the level or the depth of the design of the original weapon, how far it's going to get stretched to either side. So anyway, but like I said, it was almost cool, but I don't really dig it that much. I like the variety of games. It makes things more novel than your classic victim and monster of the week format. So, we have had, I think this is the second time we've had 2 or 3 episodes dedicated to one game, and... which sounds insane because of how quickly everybody's disappeared and how quickly the first DGP, or this, DGP of 2022 or whatever, is over. But, yeah, it's weird. You have to raise this egg to hatch the final, an item that will help you defeat the final boss. Like, that's weird. And, like, Michinaga was all mad about it being that kind of game. And it made me think of, like, Tamagotchi or like, the original Digimon, I guess, handheld game, the keychain one. And I thought that was pretty interesting, but I was thinking they could do all sorts of things. Having it open to having these various formats, that means you can have win conditions that run the gamut from, like steal the bacon to duck, duck, go or duck, duck, goose, to, capture the flag. There's all sorts of different things you can do to make a game that, like, the whole fate of the world could hinge on it, and it's kind of interesting. And honestly, something about it, and this and it being the fact that they were trying to hatch out an egg that would help them, made me think about Yu Yu Hakusho. And one of the best things about that show is that while it is a tournament anime, or it's originally a tournament manga, so it's a tournament story, much like you could say Geats is, the rules were kind of constantly changing. Every arc or every new circumstance they encountered, the rules of the game would change, and people kept getting power-ups, and I think power creep was kept very well under control because of the way that the rules kept changing or being modified or bent this way or that way, and it just kept everything fresh and interesting. And it wasn't just, I need to get stronger. I needed to be a super spirit detective level 7 as opposed to a level 6, and that's gonna turn my hair orange and make me buffer or whatever. Like, that's not what it was about. Even though it was about fighting and being strong, there was other stuff too. There were tactical battles at one point, and it was just it was interesting. It was interesting, and I think that's kind of what we're getting here. So I'm going to go and move on into the intrigues before I wrap up and give you my review of this and my score. I want to know who's Punk Jack. Why is the Game Master acting as butler to the players? That's kind of weird, but it also is pretty cool. I mean, he's the undercover boss, right? I have to look for memes, and if there aren't any, I'll have to make some. And then I want to know, what is the truth of the Jamato threat? Because it doesn't make sense that there's been like around 4,000 of these DGPs, and the Jamato are still coming. They're still a threat. They're still an issue for humanity. Why is this that way? And why does the Game Master have power to save the world, but not to stop the Jamato threat from persisting? That doesn't make sense. I was actually thinking this idea of this Game Master, like granting these people powers and stuff, would almost make a cool concept for like a Power Rangers, like I literally mean Power Rangers, like a Zordon collecting a team of people together who he can sort of, don't take this the wrong way, like exploit and manipulate to be this force to protect the Earth or life or the universe or whatever. I just thought that was kind of a cool idea, but yeah, I don't really get it, and it's curious to me. And then the big question here that I posed at the top is who wins, and maybe more importantly, how do you win in life? Because I feel even though Ace literally won the DGP, I feel like Michinaga won something, and so did Neon, and I feel like there's something about the fact that these two have left the game optimistically, and they know they're gonna return, and that they'll be playing against Ace again, and that they have a chance of winning. That I don't know, it's good. Like even though they're losing, it feels like they're winning, and I don't know. Like I'm wondering, is Michinaga going to be freed from his, thirst for desire or for revenge? But will he somehow win either a game, or is maybe Ace's wish to grant everybody's wishes or something like that? And will we see Michinaga have the power to crush all riders, but use that power judiciously to not massacre and crush all riders or destroy them all, but in fact to use that great power to, save the world and crush the Desire, or like the Desire Grand Prix itself? Because I really do think it's this evil system, even though we're not hearing explicitly that it is. But I'm just really curious to see if like that's going to happen. And then if like, does Neon need to like love herself? Is that the true love that she's looking for? To truly love and value herself? I don't know. And her like farewell to her fans, saying like, I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to focus on something else because I'm putting my life on the line to be successful at this thing. That feels really important, and it feels really good. And I wonder if she'll just go back to being the online, influencer or whatever they're calling her. I wonder if she'll stick with that in this, next round of the DGP that she's going to be involved with, or will she have still quit that for other reasons, and her memories will be, fabricated or whatever to paper over her involvement in the DGP until she gets her identity core and such, and she'll be carrying on in some other focus of her life. I'm really curious to see how that happens. So, like, I don't think it's not a corollary, it's the opposite of a corollary, which I don't know what that is, but, they brought up the point that just because you want something badly doesn't mean you're going to win, and that doesn't give you the ability to win. And, I said you do need the tools and you need the talent in order to win at something. But I think it's important, and I think it's important to note that, you can like literally win a game, but you can still lose at it, because if you go into it, if you get the right score, if you score the right amount of points, but you do it with the wrong attitude or with the wrong motivation, like basically if your actions and your intentions aren't aligned, sort of, or maybe your true intentions aren't aligned with what you're doing, then you can be like a success and be miserable. So like there's something more to winning than just having the proper outcome, because the proper outcome is actually, you need to know how to properly measure the proper outcome in order to make sure that you're getting what you want out of life, or out of your investments of time and energy into, whatever it is that you're doing. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to present that philosophical thing. I am running short on time though, so I'm going to clip it. I'm going to clip myself by not saying anything and not editing them. And just throw this out there, that there's a saying that I've learned from, let's just say, my teachers, which is, who is strong? The person who can overcome himself, which actually who can overcome his evil inclination, which is kind of similar to what Ace repeated from none other than Aristotle himself, and I think it was Aristotle. Anyway, but it's true. There's a strength that is true. There's a victory that is true that comes from overcoming yourself and winning a victory over yourself as opposed to others. So, yeah, a ninja is a master of himself and his environment, I think is what I'm trying to say, really. But anyway, I'll give you my score and then I will officially get out of here. So I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. Seeing Ace win the DGP again while Michinaga gets a chance to come back again is interesting. Excuse me. I see a shift in their relationship, which I hope to see explored in the next DGP. Ace telling Neon she'll get a chance to win a DGP is interesting. I wonder how she will be different going forward, which I kind of touched on earlier. The action was solid, but something felt a little bit off. The characters really came through, but it all feels weird because the end game is coming just over 2 months into the show, and we know there's a lot more show ahead of us. There's, 8 months, or 9 months and change ahead of us. The overall episode was enjoyable, and the reveals of Punk Jack and the Game Master's faces, as well as Navigator Girls being bugged by Ace's wish, have me quite interested to see how things will develop in the next leg of the show. Here's hoping the next GDP sheds more light on the real story. Now you know the real story. I've got no lessons learned for my story over everything because I just don't. I either didn't put enough time and attention into this, or there wasn't something solid enough for me to grasp. It was too elusive. Excuse me, I'm coughing over here like a villain. Anyway, let's see. What am I going to say? Yeah, that's it. Check out my Kamen Rider Black Sun Episode 1 analysis. It'll be up, as well as my Dawn Brothers 35 analysis. I will have something up on Friday, which I think is the day that this airs, on... what was that? November 4th. I will have on superherotie.me a text review for Black Sun Episode 1 up, and you can also check out, like I said, the audio analysis I did, which is being released under Rider Tears as well. It's a 30-some minute analysis of Black Sun, and I think it's really good. So I think it's one of my best, but maybe it's just because I so thoroughly enjoyed the episode. So anyway, please check that stuff out. Excuse me. What's happening to me? I'm not sure. I think I'm losing. Please check that stuff out over at mjvideos.com. Whew, this is MJ. I leave you with peace and blessings, and I hope this isn't me resting in peace, because I'm feeling some sort of way. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you can find more at mjvideos.com, as well as my entire library of analysis, art, and fiction.